We've reached the end, guys. It's finally here, at least for now, anyway. So, yeah. Hi, guys. Kyle, the Death Knight Enemy here, bringing you my review for now, anyway. The last episode, the finale of the Tournament of Power, and the Tournament of Power, and the final episode for now of Dragon Ball Super, episode 131. And before I get into the actual review, I just want to say that for pretty much, pretty much in the end, Dragon Ball Super has been up and down with its popularity. It's been both good. It's had its good points and its low points. And for better or worse, all I can say is it's been a fun ride. And the thing is, for me, despite all the issues Dragon Ball Super has had, I still found myself enjoying the series because at the end of the day, it's Dragon Ball. And to quote what I said on my reaction to Nostalgia Critic's review of Dragon Ball Evolution, Dragon Ball Super can get as bad as it wants, but it'll still always be better than Evolution. And I know that Evolution is a pretty low bar to compare with to begin with, but to be honest, it's one of those things where bar to compare, but to be honest, over the years, as much as I love all the versions of the series, even I can safely say that there are just as many little details about each there's just many little details throughout each variation past OG Dragon Ball that make me realize it really would have been better if Toriyama had just ended everything after the original tried and true first series of Dragon Ball with no Z, no GT, and no Super. It's one of those things where I looking at all these other variations up to this point, I can actually really appreciate the original Dragon Ball much more. I think it really makes sense as to why Toriyama probably wanted to end it with Dragon Ball and not a Z or anything else. And I know GT doesn't count because Toriyama had very little to no involvement in it, but still, I can really understand as to what, if he did want it to end it at Dragon Ball, then I can understand why. That one has been always an ambiguous thing. We don't know where Toriyama wanted to end it, but if he did want to end it at Dragon Ball, I can understand why, because each one after does seem to have its little problems. I mean, Super does have its fair share of issues above all the others, but I can still recognize a lot of other issues that are definitely in Z, in GT, all that shit. So yeah, but I've prattled on long enough about that. Let's get into the actual review itself. Now having pretty much gotten that all that way, I gotta say, I was really getting into the fight of the episode of Jiren versus Android 17, Goku and Frieza. I'll just get that right out of the way. I fucking loved the fight, though. I fucking loved the final fight. It was just action packed. It was emotional. It was just everything I want in a Dragon Ball fight. It wasn't probably as emotional as the Goku versus Jiren fight, but it was still very emotional for me as a finale fight. So yeah, and there are, of course, the usual things to say about it. I love the fuck out of the art and animation, which again was on point. I think there was probably maybe a slightly few more flops here and there, but compared to the last episode. But overall, it was really well done. Also, the fight itself, it really kind of put me at ease about the whole Frieza and Android 17 facing Jiren thing, because up until Toppo's little speech, we could definitely see that the Jiren, he was physically and emotionally drained from fighting Goku, and even after that, what we really saw was just the last small amount of power that Jiren had left. The biggest, Jiren pretty much Jiren himself, even after doing that one final power up, he was exhausted throughout this. He was exhausted throughout this whole battle because he already fought a major league battle with Goku, which was epic as hell. And yeah, so, but honestly, the biggest thumbs up I can give to this episode for me was the simple fact that the victory didn't come from it being just another Goku defeats the antagonist alone situation. Like I said, this time it was actually worked to. This time Goku actually worked together with Frieza and 17 to defeat Jiren. And the best, honestly, the best part of this whole fucking episode was that Android 17 was the one who survived in the end. Like, holy shit. Goku and Frieza actually went down with Jiren. Goku was not the last man standing. Holy crap. Like, that was the part that really amazed me. Like, in the end, it wasn't Goku, it wasn't Frieza, it was the last person we would have ever fucking expected to win. And it worked beautifully for me for some reason. Like, I just loved it. And, like, I know it's strange to get, I know it's strange to get, I know it's strange to really get excited about Android 17 being the victor, but it's just it's really kind of, when you really think about it, it's a breath of fresh air, I'm sure, for many people. Like, Android 17 is one of those characters I don't think I think because Android 17 is one of the characters who we haven't really thought about a whole lot in the back of our minds. Like, he's been that kind of background and background character who's always been there for a little bit of backup support. And I think that's what kind of threw us off, is that he's been always in the background, but now, yeah, he finally pulled it off. And yeah, so it was just great to see. It was great to see that it wasn't just Goku or any Goku as the last man standing. Like, yeah, I just love the fuck out of that. So, and in the end, 17 wished for every universe to be restored, and it kind of became one of those fairly obvious things that was going to happen. But going off what I said about Android 17 being the last one standing, it really fits into who he has become as a character. Or hell, he even said it himself, he's a wildlife preservationist. But it just, I think from fighting alongside Goku and like Android 17 has gotten some amazing development pretty much throughout this whole tournament and this whole arc in general. And I think from being around Goku again and his sister, I think he's definitely definitely knows who Goku is as a character. So when he definitely made that wish, he definitely thought, what would Goku do? So in a way, it is kind of doing exactly what Goku would do, but it's from the perspective of someone who basically knows him. So yeah, it is kind of an obvious thing, but I really liked it, because it wasn't necessarily Goku again too. So yeah, and as a whole, the way this, and I actually want to talk about how this episode ended, because that is definitely one of the points I need to mention in this episode, is how it ended, which is the way the episode ended. It did leave us with a very ambiguous and open-ended finale, more than likely giving us a means to transition into Dragon Ball Super movie, and definitely especially from the little finale bits we got of basically Frieza, of seeing Frieza basically reunite with his entire army. Like, I've heard Frieza's going to be a big deal in this movie, so it's obvious that him reuniting with his army is going to be one of those major plot points. But they covered it here and a lot of other little tidbits. So yeah, it's obvious that they're setting up for the movie with the ending of this episode. And but even more than setting up for the movie, I feel that this episode, the way Toei handled this episode, it left it off in such a way where there definitely could be more story, even beyond the movie and beyond what we got, how this episode ended. It really, but at the end of the day, it really all depends if it'll come in the form of more Dragon Ball Super or something else entirely. Maybe even we'll considering that I'm pretty sure it is Toyotaro, considering that he is part of the drafting crew. Maybe we'll get a Dragon Ball AF anime that has a storyline continuing after Super, because whether for like the thing is, whether for good or bad, Super's main purpose is to basically be in canon filler between the Kid Buu fight and the final episode of Z. So that in the final episode of Z, or basically the final tournament in Dragon Ball Z, where we meet Baby Pan, we see Baby Pan fighting and whatnot, and we meet Oob. So yeah, like there are definitely there's so many directions in which this story can still go, but it really just all depends on definitely how they're going to do it, because like we definitely need to understand too as to one of the reasons as to why Dragon Ball Super had to end is basically because it wasn't because it wasn't because Toei or anyone else wanted to end it that way. It's just that from what I hear that they pretty much lost their they pretty much lost their they pretty much lost their broadcast rights or something, and Dragon Ball Super was pretty much being switched out with pretty much another anime, so they were pretty much forced to end. They didn't want to end it that way, but they were forced to. So so there are so many ways in which we can get more Dragon. We can continue the story here. It just all depends on how they're going to do it, I guess. Also, another thing I really like about this episode. So yeah, another thing I really like about this episode, to be honest with you, is how in the end Jiren finally overcame everything, and everything finally overcame and was basically the true Jiren. Like he wasn't the Jiren who was overcome with hatred and self-loathing for basically what happened to his friends and his comrades. It was basically just who's the Jiren who we ended up getting knowing it in that little flashback even before all that shit happened. So yeah, Jiren he was finally at peace, which I can do nothing but respect for him, honestly. And so yeah, the Jiren we saw, it was before all that bullshit happened, and he was finally able to repent. He was finally able to repent to the end, and it really came full circle when all the universes, Universe 11 included, was brought back, and he was finally able to open up to his comrades and in the Pride Troopers and say, yes, I may have failed to protect the ones I loved before, but now I can finally move on. So yeah, Jiren as a whole, this pretty much brought a conclusion to everything he was thinking before. And beyond that, like, no lie, like I busted a gut. I busted a gut. I could not breathe when the Grand Prix said Zen-Oh 1 and 2 basically predicted everything out, and from how this whole tournament of power would end, and how like it was almost like to him it was an all or nothing gamble. Either all the universes got restored in the end, or all of them got erased. It's like it's one of those so fucked up. It is a good thing that he predicted it almost, but at the same time, it's seriously fucked up that for him it was an all or nothing gamble. Either all the universes got restored, or all of them got erased. Like, it's funny as hell that the Zen-Ohs are basically trolled everyone, but at the same time, it still worries me that they're that fucking just. I actually believe that they would definitely do it too. So it's like, yeah, it's funny, but it's like, okay, they would actually do that too. It's like, oh god, I'm not sure. Yeah, I've learned definitely not to underestimate the Zen-Ohs. That's all I know for sure right now. So but yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I have for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Facebook or Twitter, and like I said, guys, it's been one hell of a journey, and whatever form Dragon Ball comes back in, whether it continues Super or not, I openly await. So, again, this is Death Knight of Anime, signing off. Remember, everyone, in anime, we trust. Later, guys.